How's it going, Verbal Traders? Robert H here. I'm going to do a longer recap today. We're going to talk price action, trend lines, triangles, and daily levels. So QCOM, this thing was a big mover today, right? Very, very high volume, very violent moves. Yesterday in Power Hour, it ran up $12. Crazy move, closed at around 70, gapped up today. When I got to the stations, it was around $80, right? So on the daily chart, we're going to find some levels. What did I find? I found the 52-week high, September, right, of 2018. That was a previous 52-week high, 76.50. I want you guys to remember that number, right? And then in the area we were trading in at around 9 o'clock here, it was 80 bucks. So in order to find an area of $80, you have to go back to 2014. That's a while back. I don't put weight into levels that are more than 2 years old or whatever. But when you gap up this far, you got to work with what you have, right? So 82 bucks, that's this high. Remember that number as well. It's going to come up later. Okay, so we open, nice bullish bar, 2-minute opening range breakout potential. And I looked at my chart and said, this is probably going to be a good move, but I got this level of 82 bucks. I got to put my stop at the moving averages or VWAP, right? This area here. And if I take it at the breakout, what does that give me? That's a 1-to-1. It's probably, it's high probability, but the risk to reward in the long run, you don't want to be taking 1-to-1s, right? So I sat it out. And another reason I sat it out is the bars were huge, $2. Some people in the room caught the quick scalps. It was just too violent for my liking, right? I'd rather stay in my own comfort zone and miss the move, right? No FOMO here. Right, so then it tested the $82 level, broke through a couple times, but failed. That's not a coincidence. People obviously watching that, and it sold off. Right, sold off. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. Sold off, and trying to find a bottom somewhere. Right. So where do you think it found a bottom? Where do you think it found a bottom? Right, found it right here at 11:30. 76.49 was the low of the day, and again that came from the 52-week high. That's not a coincidence. Someone came in and scooped that up. Look at this. Look at the 1-minute chart. Right, it came tested the level. And then boom, 70-cent spike, 70 cents, right? Obviously, there's people waiting for that to happen. Right, now I want to switch to trend lines. So I don't trade trend lines. This is something a lot of people in the room, we don't do, but I know a lot of traders do trade trend lines, right? So I'm trying to learn this stuff. I draw the trend lines out, and then I pop it in and out of the room here. I'm not watching this stuff all day, but I pop it in and out and just see, is it respecting the trend line? What happens when it breaks out? Obviously, a learning experience for me, right? So I had this trend line, once it found that bottom, and then I started forming this small triangle here. And I noticed, it's consolidating, it's converging to a point. It can't break out to the upside, can't break out to the downside, and these moves are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So what happens when it finally breaks out? Right here, right? This is the bar that it breaks out. Surge of volume comes in, right? It's almost 3 times the prior bar. That's not a coincidence. Other people are watching that, right? So we break out of the small triangle. And then I was, okay, let's draw a big triangle. Big triangle from the open, right? That's the incline there. Drawing it to the point that it reaches here. It's got to break out of this. What's going to happen, right? Well, as soon as it breaks out, again, it breaks out in this area here. We've got volume spikes, right? It's coming out of this range. People are starting to look at it. It's becoming interesting. And again, I don't trade this stuff, right? I trade patterns, ABCDs and stuff like that. You guys know what I do. But I started looking at it at this point, right? And one thing I noticed during this kind of channel range bound thing here, the lows kept getting higher and higher and higher, right? The buyers are absorbing the sellers at higher price points. So obviously, it's uptrending, right? This is an uptrend if you want to look at it that way, right? And then we kind of, I called this in the room here, 78.40, this area. So, QCOM are going to test the VWAP, and off it goes, right? It ran 60 cents, tested the VWAP. Then I just started watching it some more, and Norm and I were both watching it in the room. We said, it's consolidating, it's converging to a point of some sort here. And I saw something here that, made me take the trade, basically. We're still on this uptrend, right? Sorry, all the clicking and clacking. I know some of you guys don't like my keyboard here, but we broke out, right? And then we kind of started forming this flag type pattern, right? This is what I do trade. And normally I don't take it below the VWAP, but I saw something here in the price action. Every time it came down to 78.65, it kept getting bought up, right? Even though it broke the moving averages on the 1-minute chart, and I believe on the 2-minute chart also kept punching below the moving averages. So I'm stepping in and buying this stuff at 65. Once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, right? So it's okay, I'm gonna take it long on the new 5-minute high, see what happens. We're either gonna squeeze above the VWAP or we're gonna lose that level, right? People are gonna stop buying at 78.65. Take it long. What happens? We get a little pump, gets to the VWAP, rejects it, right? So shorts, obviously, people trying to exiting their longs. That's a very, very significant level. And then it comes down and nearly stops me out. But again, those 78.65, it coincided with the 50 moving average. It got bought up again, right? So it's again very strong support there, and then it ran. And I wasn't here. I wasn't in the room when this kind of dumped on me here. As I said before, I am not using range orders now, so I stepped out. By the time I got back, I was over here. I was like, oh, sweet, I got to my target. Limit order, it hit there, and the price basically just collapsed after that. It engulfed, and into the close, it was just trash, but basically engulfed there, right? So that's the trade, 2-to-1 off this little flag, consolidation below the VWAP on some sort of a strong support move here and a squeeze. So that's the trade. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the room tomorrow.